Hello, everybody, and welcome to another adventure in history. Hey! I hope everybody is having a grand day. Hope that the world is treating you nice. Hello, puppy. I've got a puppy visiting us already. You want to come over here and come and see me? Get you up on stream early in the stream? Oh, she's doing a big puppy stretch. Come and see me. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can get up here. There you go. There's a big puppy. Hello. Hello, puppy. You smell that stuff on my shirt? You sugars? Oh, hello, kitty puppy. Oh, yes. That's a good girl. Yes. That is a good puppy. Had to clip her toenails earlier today. She did not care for that very much at all. Want to come around over here? Oh, you come right here. Some scratches. You sit. Oh, that's a good sit. Oh, yes. He's a good puppy. Yes, that's a good girl. You just gonna come hang out with me? Oh, such a sweet puppy. Oh, yes. Oh, so good girl. I could probably use some puppy head pats. Try to release some dopamine. It has been a long day in the Adventures in History household. We have been talking to... I got this camera all fudzed up now. There we go, that's better. We've been having to talk to contractors about roof stuff. And yeah, roof stuff is expensive. Way expensive. Like, holy crap, I could almost buy a vehicle for that expensive. Contract, not like hitmen, no tuna. Contractors as in people who are supposed to come and fix our stuff. Let me say hello to everybody that's here. DCI Banks, welcome. Good to see you. Foggage wants to learn about knights in shining armor, does not actually want knights in shining armor. That's a fair distinction, Foggage. Welcome in. I appreciate you making that. Is Johnny Teutonic a mix of Johnny Mnemonic, which I'm glad you got, and Kingdom of Heaven starring Legolas as a human? Sure, why not? Let's make it. Print that stuff. What's up, Blank Page? How's it going? Welcome, welcome. It was a decent day. Good to hear, KP. KP and my wife and Mac and a lab coat got to hang out yesterday for the first time in about a month. And it was, the first time that all four of us had been together and longer than that. Mac and a lab coat and KP and I did a brief overnight jaunt back around holiday time. So that was a good time. We went and had some burgers and looked at all of the Gundam stuff that I wanted to buy that I didn't end up buying. And then I got home and realized that I probably should have because it was a better deal than I thought that it was. But that's how it goes, right? Anyway, we had a good day yesterday, and that is good because today definitely averaged it out. It was rough. Emotion. Lots of emotion. Tad, what's up? Good to see you. Paradox Moose, I'm dealing with a plumbing issue. That can also be a pain in the butt. I had made go bad to worse. Ooh, if it ends up being my turn for requesting either Admiral Yi Sun Sin, hero of the Imjin War, or Eleanor Aquitaine. So are you saying that you're like going to just like drop your suggestions and then run? Tonight's at the end of the stream tonight. It will be an all vote. Well, we actually had two contractors come by today. One to do measurements and one to do measurements and give a quote. We've already had one person come out and quote part of the job, and we thought that was way expensive until we saw the whole job quote, and then we were like, hey. And we're supposed to be getting an email from the first contractor at some point, and then we've got another contractor coming out tomorrow afternoon. So, yeah, you get what you pay for with Hitman. Jail time? What's up, Color by Yemi? Good to see you. You pay people to take care of business. We understand. Say no more. Yeah. I take her to take care of business. Right. Yeah, Blake Page, I had a lot of really negative emotional reaction to it. I don't like spending money to begin with, and we have been very blessed in that we have a home and we have money that we can spend on stuff, and we don't have to worry about food, and we don't have to worry about so many things. But, when someone says this is going to be like $19,000, that's still in my brain, just it makes something click, and I got like really, really emotional about it, and got mad, and then got mad at myself for being mad, and it's a mess. That was one estimate. We've got two other people, and we can even look around for some more, so it might not end up being that, but like my initial response was very disproportional to that particular situation. Moose says he's going to be running back and forth between the computer and the bathtub. Oh, no. There's always a bigger fish. There is always a bigger fish. You only pay $3,500 for your roof replacement? Oh, man, that's a lot less. The difference here is our insurance is absolutely not going to pay anything on it, just mostly because it's old. Also, we've got to replace a lot of fascia and soffit stuff, so it's not just the roof, it's a whole bunch of other things. The people that built the last roof didn't do it the right way, so we're going to have to repair a lot of the stuff that they screwed up, like some of the decking and adding a drip edge, which they didn't add. Anyway, we don't have to go into all of this stuff. Just cover your roof with some tarp and be done with it. DCI, that is not the worst suggestion. Big blue tarp is a couple $100, right? You got the wrong size wrench from Amazon. Should have checked if they had multiple options. Ooh. Yeah, that sounds bad. Your dad circumvented roofing costs by having indentured servitude to help do it. I am not coordinated enough to do roofing stuff. I've also never done roofing stuff, and I don't trust myself to do it properly. This is one of those things where, like, we can put in a new door frame or we can put in wood flooring, but like, no. DCI Banks, that's actually a great question about the thing. Here, let me catch up with chat. I'm seeing chat in two different places and my brain is going awry. I love spending money. I don't enjoy having less of it. Oh, that's fair. I was about remodeling contractor for about 5 years. Wish I could help you. Yeah, Blake Page, I'm a little bit far from Reno. So, you're like right around here-ish, and I'm like over here-ish. Just a couple of miles between us, but I appreciate that. So he's like, you need something to fall off the back of the truck? Yeah, for real, I wish. A vote for thatch roofing. Well, if you do that, you're just inviting the wrath of Trogdor, right? If you make a thatched roof cottage, Trogdor is going to come and burninate you in the night. It's just the way that it goes. He's the burninator. You can't not get burninated if you're going to go with thatched roof cottages. About the solar paneling stuff, the state that I live in has really ridiculous rules when it comes to the installation and use of solar panels, and there are so many regulations that exist to try to keep people away from using solar power. It's effectively impossible without a significantly large monetary investment just on the front of the solar panel stuff, because you kind of have to buy everything on your own. and then you have to let other people come out and do work, which they're going to charge you for, and then you don't actually get to benefit from that. You have to sell the solar power back to the electrical grid, and then they they credit you on your bill, so you don't actually ever see any dollars from that. And it's a big layout of funds up front because there's no funding for solar companies to do that as an incentive. You have to buy all of the stuff yourself, and of course you have to buy the ones that the state approves, and of course they control the market of all of that stuff. And it's really it is designed to dissuade people from using solar panels. I would actually really love solar roofs. I think solar is a great idea. I wish that we had more effective panels that worked a little bit better. You know, and I also wish that there were more subsidies for that. If we eliminated subsidies for things like fossil fuels, solar and wind and electric stuff would get a lot more competitive in the market. You need a Tesla-sized battery to store up the energy, better to feed the grid. Solar hot water is a great way to go. Yeah, see, well, we can't even do that. You can't have anything that wires into your home that isn't originally from the grid, basically. So we would have to run the panel line to the grid, and then there would have to be another line coming out of the grid that goes into our house. We couldn't even run the power into our house at all, according to where we live. Rethea says, didn't Capture Teutonic Knights get super executed in the north? Yeah, we're about to talk a lot about Northern Europe. We're kind of chatting around right now. It is some scammy BS, Emmy, and I call it BS for what it is. Only the ones that had solar roofs. Yeah, they went against the royal decree and the papal bull, and Gdansk was a Teutonic city. At that time, though, it was called Danzig, but you are correct. It absolutely was. They lost that. Well, we're going to get to all this stuff. We're going to get to all this stuff. Okay, so the Teutonic Knights. This is a viewer request stream, which means that this came from the audience. And this particular one was a stream purchased by our very own Lumpy Dragon Potato, who chose their own adventure. All right. We could invest in nuclear and power the nation for the next 200-300 years. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of nuclear energy. I think we need more. And I think we need to put more money into researching things, especially like the heavy salt stuff. What is it? It's either called heavy salt or is like halogen, or not halogen. Or is it halogen? I can't remember. Maybe it's heavy alkali stuff. Anyway, it's basically nuclear reactors running on things that aren't as hard to find as stuff like plutonium and uranium, and it's also much easier to shut down before it gets into things like, meltdown, right? Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear. Yeah, nuclear. Nuclear is how you say it, but we've got to say it like George H.W. Bush is nuclear power. Don't mess with Texas and build more nuclear power plants. Anyway, not the world's best George H.W. Bush impression. Nuclear. Yeah. All right. So first off, what's up with these knights? Where do they come from? What's the purpose in the whole scheme of things? What we're looking at here. Why do oranges wear sunscreen? So they don't peel. I love it. Bob. That's a great one. I appreciate it. I'm the decider. It's me. Or you could do a British pronunciation and add like 14 extra vowels. You'd only add the U. It'd be like nuclear. Recently worked for a company that made some radiation detection equipment for nuclear power plants. It's like 20 years to build a plant because of red tape. Yeah, pretty much. Aluminium. Oh, yeah, there's a random I right there, right? Where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did they come from? Teutonic Knights Joe. We're talking about that. What up, Metrion? Good to see you. I'll say I'll say stuff in your neck of the woods tonight because we're going to talk about the Baltics. Not, I know that's not like immediately your neck of the woods, but it's around your world, and Sweden takes over some of this stuff. But anyway, where do they come from? They come from the old Crusade region. So over here in this zone, where after the First Crusade, we have these things called the Crusader Kingdoms. Hello? There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know what exactly happened there. Do I hit... Oh, I did a bad thing, and I did something stupid, and I shouldn't have done that. In an attempt at trying to set up hotkeys, I set one of them up as enter. So I'm not going to be able to use that without muting stuff. I should probably go fix that literally while we're doing this. I wonder if I can do this while we're running. I don't know if it's going to let me. Okay, hey, cool. Okay, hey, cool. I could fix it on the fly. Awesome, nice. Lumpy is here. Welcome back. Good to see you. Shane is ending early. I am not. That key is hot. I don't think I'm ending early. I don't know. I'm probably going to run along with this one, actually. Right control is the best hotkey for anything because nobody ever uses it, right? If you have long fingers. I don't. I have stubby little sausage fingers. No, I'm not ending already. I don't know where this is coming from. Anyway, the First Crusade, when it ends, we have Crusader kingdoms. And they control, effectively, the Middle Eastern region of the Mediterranean. Raveland, what's up? Good to see you. Also, heya Ann, and heya David. And heya Lumpy. I don't know if I said... And heya Green Herring. Everybody's coming in. Everybody's a thing. Retheus, I don't know if I said hello to you, but hello. So... What's going on with this area? Well, there's a big group of Europeans that end up moving over to these Crusader kingdoms. Specifically, the one that we're going to sort of look at as a foundational part here for our Teutonic Order is the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which is where the Kingdom of Heaven joke came from, I suspect. Is that because they were paid in land? Technically, no. You weren't actually supposed to get paid to go on crusade. But they did go back on all of their oaths that they held, or that they had made to the Byzantine emperor, who was supposed to recover all lands that had formerly been Byzantine. But the French and the Germans especially decided, we'll just keep it because the Byzantines can't really stop us. And this is where a large group of Germans are going to end up hanging out inside the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which was the largest and most powerful of the Crusader states. Pillaging is the enemy, right? But what's going to happen here is the Pope is going to recognize that there was a lot of interest in having multiple political angles inside of these kingdoms. So there are going to be some that are run by French, some that are run by, other, like the British are going to end up involved in this, and then the Germans are going to end up involved in this. But anyway, the popes are going to set up a specific hospital. And they're going to have this hospital run by the Germans because there's a sizable German population. So what year is this? This is in the 1090s and then into the early 1100s. So early 1100s. No. You're always welcome to ask questions like that. So there's a German hospital that's inside of the city of Jerusalem, and it's run by a German order of basically monks, but also some church-sanctioned individuals and some people that just have money. Because here's the thing about these Crusader kingdoms, and especially the Kingdom of Jerusalem, there's a lot of travel happening during this time. People from Europe are going over to the Holy Land for the first time in centuries and doing things like pilgrimage. And when they show up, they're tired, they're hurt, because this is not an easy trip, right? They need a place to go into what they called hospice, and this is where hospital comes from. So you've maybe heard of like the large orders like the Hospitallers, right? Um, the Order of the Hospitallers, or of course, pilgrimage. I found something to take back to. Oh, that's too good. That's too good. So the Templars are another of these big orders. At this point, the Teutonic Knights don't exist, but there is a hospital of people that had been run or had been designated to be run for the German population, because German is very different than French or British and Latin, and a lot of the people that were in Germany didn't speak Latin very well, so they needed somebody that knew their native language that they could go to. And these are sort of like the little, what we might call the first little nucleus of the Order of Teutonic Knights. Now, fast forward until we get to 1190. And in 1190, we're going to basically lose a lot of stuff in the Holy Land. The Crusader states had mostly fallen at this point. There's a big city called Acre, and the siege of Acre is going to not go so well for really either side, but this is going to be particularly bad for the Europeans. And the German Hospitallers, I shouldn't say Hospitallers because they weren't hospital knights. The German people that were running this hospital in Jerusalem are going to go out to the battlefield, and they're going to set their little knights up, and they're going to protect their hospital out to treat the people that were wounded by the siege of Acre. And this is where things are going to go sort of rapidly, because the Pope at the time was this guy. This guy's name is Celestine III. And Celestine recognized it was a mass Acre. It really was. It was a bad. It was very damaging. Lots of people died. Anyway, so Celestine III saw this activity and was like, okay, they're protecting their hospital. They have arms. They're doing God's work. We should help them organize. And this is what's going to be the actual beginning of our order of the Teutonic Knights. Now, where the devil do we get the word Teutonic from if they're all German? Well, this is where Latin comes back into play, because if you're going to write the Orders of the Brother of the German House of St. Mary, which is the technical name. So the technical name of the Teutonic Knights is the Order of the Brothers of the German House of St. Mary in Jerusalem, right? So it's this giant list. But specifically, if you say that in Latin, you're going to use the word Teutonicum. Teutonicum. So this is the possessive adjective German, right? And this is where we get Teutonic from, right? So our word Teutonic here in English is an anglicized version of the Latin word Teutonicum, right? So German is basically what we're... German has entered the Latin chat, right? Exactly. So Teutonic, again, this is where we're going to get that from. And I'll refer to them as that, the Judean People's Front. Not the People's Front of Judea. What have happened to him? Oh, he's over there. I love that movie. Anyway, originally, they were not a military unit. They were people that were going to protect those that needed aid, but they weren't going to go out and actually do the crusading. They were just supposed to run the hospital, keep everybody safe, and watch over the wounded. But it doesn't take them very long to realize that there's going to need to be a lot of fighting, and specifically as the Crusader states start falling, it's more and more evident that they're going to have more people that are going to literally take up arms. So in 1198, Pope Innocent III is going to give them sanction to crusade. So they sort of get like a blank check that says whatever the order does is going to be covered under the rules of crusade. And this means they get all of the benefits of being actual crusaders, stuff like the indulgences, which kept you out of time in purgatory, stuff like you needing to swear oaths to obey the Pope, etc. One of the things that especially the Pope did at that time was make sure that the Grand Master, right, the head of the Teutonic Order, was forbidden to swear political oaths of fealty. So they were supposed to be a purely religious organization that had no no ability to sort of play politics. It's not particularly going to take very long for that to change, though. Is this the same Vero? Give me back my legions forested area? No. That's... I mean, if we're talking about region of the world, yes, but specifically, no. Muffin sends regards and made a crude pun on Teutonic that does not translate, but the punchline is, okay, interesting, and I approve, even if I don't speak the language very well. I was going to go with Isn't It Teutonic as the stream title, but we had already used that one for the bubonic plague. Isn't it bubonic? So there aren't too terribly many words that rhyme with Teutonic. And I had a few other ones like Teutonic Shift. But after the earthquakes in Turkey, I figured that one might be a little bit too on the nose. There was also Teutonic Friendship, but I didn't know how well that would come across, especially considering that they didn't make a lot of friends. Anyway, Gin and Teutonic. That's not actually a bad one. That would have been a good one. All right. So we're going to run for a little while, and things are going to really start shifting pretty broadly. Well, I guess I should put von because he's German. Hermann von Salza. Also Hermann D. Salza, depending on who you're speaking to. This guy is going to be the head of the Teutonic Order for a while. And he is going to be particularly important. All your homies hate Hermann. Really? Do they actually hate him, or are you just trying to make a joke that I don't get? It's quite possibly that there's a joke that I don't get. But here we see Ordinus Militae, the military order, Teutonicum Magister. So this is the Magister, or Magister Primus. So, Grand Master of the military order of Teutonics. Okay, cool. So sometimes people know things and, it's an actual statement, and other times I'm just really bad at catching the jokes. I get a little bit too far into teacher mode, and it doesn't occur to me that someone's being just a goof. Anyway, this is Hermann von Salza. Why is he important, and why did I just spend, a minute and a half showing you his face? This guy's really, really important to the Teutonic Order. He's really going to be the one that shifts them into sort of the broad spectrum players that they will be for the next couple hundred years. First off, he decides to get the Teutonic Order involved in dealings inside of the continent, and specifically over here in the Balkans. The Balkan region, of course, was one that was very tumultuous, and was tumultuous even back then and still tumultuous today. We all know how bad the Balkans can be in certain places. Not that the people are bad, just that the politics are a mess. So at the particular time, there were a lot of problems in the Kingdom of Hungary, and the Kingdom of Hungary was trying to do its best to hold on to some control of some certain regions, especially against the incursion of non-Christian people from outside of the Hungarian borders, roughly coming from over here in the northern Black Sea, sort of southeastern corner of European world zone. And the Teutonic Order was like, hey, well, we'll swing in, we'll build some castles, and we'll kind of set you up a protective screen, and we'll help you hold on to your territory. And Hermann von Salza was instrumental in doing this. He had some tenuous connection with the royal family in Hungary, and this seemed like it was a good thing to begin with. So this is a big deal. Like, okay, we're making a play. We're going to expand outside of the Holy Land. We're going to target some other people, because any pagan activity could be considered covered under the Crusade, because hey, we're converting people to Christianity, right? So there's going to be some outposts in Transylvania that get set up. Also, Hermann de Salza is personally going to lead forces in the 5th and 6th Crusades. These are shifting a little bit in tone towards a European model of crusading. So the fifth one is still down here in the Holy Land, but we're starting to realize that the Crusades down here aren't doing so great. The Fifth Crusade manages to take a little bit of territory down here in Egypt, but only holds on to it for just a few years before they get pushed back out. Sixth Crusade, it is also fairly similarly just not working very well. The idea of retaking the entire Holy Land is proving to be one that is not really tenable and not necessarily very defensible. And isn't it Teutonic? Yeah, I do think it's Teutonic. All right, fake news. Nothing ever happens in the Balkans, right? You go so far with the alliteration, you could become a Monty Python bit. Indeed, indeed. Does Von Salza lead the front, or is he chilling in his platform with horn and flags? A little bit of both. A little bit of both. He's actually not afraid to go out and swing the sword. Most of the time, he's sort of the mastermind behind the scenes kind of thing, but there are a few times he actually gets involved in the battle. But in the process of participating in these crusades, again, the shift is going to move back up here towards Europe. And especially this eastern chunk of Europe was what we might only call sparsely Christianized. And I know this seems very odd, because if you think about Europe and you think about the 1200s, you probably think, oh, well, Europe had been Christianized for hundreds of years at that point. But it really hadn't. There was still a large portion of Europe, especially this northern and eastern part of Europe, that was still very much practicing local traditional religion that was polytheistic. Some heretical Christian versions, like Arianism, was still around us a little bit. And the European powers, especially the Holy Roman Empire, and to a certain extent Hungary as well, were interested in converting a lot of these people and bringing them into the Christian fold. Of course, that means taking their land. But one of the things that's going to happen here as a gift, the guy that's running the Holy Roman Empire at the time is this dude named Frederick II, who is this guy. Frederick II. The conflict between Christianity in the West and Orthodoxy in the East. Well, so that's also another part of it as well. Orthodoxy at that point had not necessarily expanded as broadly into the the northeastern corner. But there were some Orthodox churches that were moving around, especially in not necessarily around this time. In about 150 or so years, there's going to be a lot of Orthodox activity that gets out into places like the Principality of, Novgorod and the Grand Duchy of Moscow, which is basically what we call Russia today. But they weren't really unified or Russian at that point. They were more Rus. But anyway, that's a whole thing. Xeon, not Xeon. That's space Nazis. Anyway, so that's Frederick. Frederick is going to give Hermann von Salza some land, and specifically some land in Prussia. So Prussia at that time is sort of this region over here that's, not really fully Germanized. It's got a lot of local people that were, like, if we put up our modern borders, right, Germany's over here and Prussia is like right over here. But at the time, Prussia was much more of a kind of this whole zone was kind of considered Prussia. Now, the state of Prussia was much smaller, and that's a later situation. But anyway, there are only space Jews. So Xeon in the Gundam world are space people that are designed after Nazis, right? So space Nazis. Why was that area in Germany such a hard place to conquer? Rome stopped there. Yeah. So a few things. Number one, the geography is much more resistant to conquering than it might seem. So if we actually zoom in here to this region, this what we might call the northwest or northeastern part of Germany, and today in Poland, that area is rather mountainous, and there are a lot of rivers and stuff that are easily natural boundaries, and there are some really big bogs and marshes here that make it difficult for armies to move around. There are lots of vectors for escape in that area. You get somebody bottled up in some valleys or something like that, and you start a fight with them, and then they just run away down the valley, and you can't chase them because you can't get around them. So there's a lot of stuff going on up in this region right here, and Frederick thinks, oh well, they're doing some good stuff over in Hungary. Maybe they'll do some good stuff over here in Prussia. So Hermann de Salza personally gets some land, but of course it ends up sort of becoming part of the larger Teutonic Order. And this is going to help make some money for the Order. And specifically, they're going to use that money to buy themselves a castle. So since Lumpy asked for this, Lumpy Dragon Potato, friend of the stream, is a really big fan of castles. So I tried my best to make sure that I noted all of the big castles that were the headquarters and tried to find pictures of them. So the first castle that was used by the Teutonic Order as their headquarters was this castle. This is called Montfort Castle. It's in modern day Israel, and you can go see it as part of a big nature reserve. Who isn't a fan of castles? Yeah, that's a great question. So the barbarians of that region would have absolutely been using a lot of guerrilla tactics, but they were also not necessarily going to rely on those across the board. There were plenty of really big pitched battles where, my army shows up on one side and your army shows up on the other side, and we run at each other and start, hacking people. Looks like the builders liked the trees. Yeah, it's the natural green spaces that really bring the castle together. Of course, this is, 800 plus years old. So here's another aerial picture. You can see that it's built down the ridge of this hill. And the keep was here out on the point of the hill with a wall around it and areas that were fortified all the way down the line. Pretty interesting castle, really nice. But they bought it. They paid cash for it they bought it from the French. They probably had to go the tree line way back. Yeah. So you don't want trees that close to the walls. Absolutely. You're going to probably cut your trees back all the way down here, and this would have been on a really bald open hill. You do not like trees by the walls of the castle. Broadly speaking, bad idea. All right. So what else is he going to do? Well, he gets really in good with Frederick II, again, Holy Roman Emperor, and there's going to be this thing called the Golden Bull, and it's bull spelled like B-U-L-L, but specifically here this is an order, right? They passed a law or something of that same thing. But anyway, the Golden Bull, this happens in 1226, and it gives Hermann de Salza sort of a position within the Holy Roman Empire. They give him a status that makes him a prince, basically. Now, this seems to sort of contradict the papal direction that the Teutonic Order was never supposed to be political. But the way that they get around this is they give him this princely status so that he can debate the political leaders of the Holy Roman Empire on the same level. So he's not swearing fealty to anyone. This particular position is going to allow him to negotiate without having to worry about politics. So this actually frees him up a lot. And the way that Frederick II made the particular command work, it effectively passed this title, this princely title, down to all subsequent Grand Masters of the Teutonic Order. So not only does Hermann von Salza get this, but all subsequent leaders after him are going to be able to negotiate on this sort of princely level. And what's really interesting about this is it's a title that goes along with the Holy Roman Empire, but because the Holy Roman Empire was sort of the gravitic, the center, like the black hole where all power in that region ended up, that gave him sort of some pull even in countries that weren't the Holy Roman Empire, like Hungary. And we're about to talk about that in just a second when I catch up with chat. Savvy guy, indeed. This is a pretty smart move from Frederick. How many members did they have around that time? Lumpy, that is really, really difficult to say. I would venture into the realm of 10,000-ish, but that's probably not something that I could guarantee. And the thing is, they weren't all in one spot. The work of von Salza had ended up spreading Teutonic Order stuff all over the place. So their headquarters is still down here at Montferrat, or Montferrat. They had some territory over here in Greece. They had, of course, their outpost here in Turkey. They have a whole bunch here in the Prussian world. It's a very spread out force. So at any given point, they're probably not going to be able to marshal more than maybe 2,000 at any given spot. But if you look at all of the places together, it sounds bigger than it actually is in premise, right? They're never ever going to all be in one spot at the same time. They're always going to be sort of spread out, and you're going to have a castle that might have 200 soldiers at it, right? Or a fortified villa or something like that. I think 10K is probably the upper limits. That's not like, oh, they had at least this. I would say that they can't have any more than that. If I were being more conservative, I would say probably in the 5 or 6 range. But it's really hard to say. They didn't... to my knowledge, I was not able to find any roles that had specific numbers of people on it. I would suspect that if I were really, really deep into the Catholic world and had called my buddy who is Catholic and a PhD in history and got him to pull strings for me and gone over to Vienna, I could probably pull really old documents that had roles in it. But that's a lot. So 1,300 to 1,500 knights, correct. But how many people were in the orders with them? So, you could be in the larger order and not be a knight. You could be just a priest, or you could be a monk, or you could be somebody to stand on the wall and do archers, or this is all of the support staff as well. This is all of the people that are all of the people that are involved total, not just the number of people that they can put on the battlefield. You mean you aren't willing to fly to Europe to get accurate numbers for stream? I would love to be able to fly to Europe. If somebody wanted to buy me a ticket to go to Vienna and do research on the Teutonic Order, I would do that. You're going to have to pay for the ticket and put me up in a hotel, but I'll stay there for as long as you pay, as long as you're doing this in the summer when I can go. I would totally do that. Templars made sergeants manage land. Yeah, that's another thing. We're about to get to that. There are going to be land managers that get brought into the Teutonic Order. Well, there are going to be some land managers too. But they're technically going to be protectors of the land, so they're technically going to be military members, but we'll talk about that in just a second. They didn't have like a draft or anything like that. They weren't going to like pay up a whole bunch of people to come fight for them. Are you not entertained? Steve Sketches, thank you so much for that raid, and welcome in everybody with the Scribble Squad. How's it going, everybody? Hope you're having a good one. To everybody that was hanging out in my channel, if you are not already following my friend Steve Sketches, you really should, because he's a really interesting guy that has a lot of artistic talent. He's also very knowledgeable about many things in the world. Tells it to you straight, which I appreciate like crazy. And it's just a good dude, right? Just a good dude. So, welcome, Nick Slottle. Hope you're having good. Yeah. Got to go take care of the kiddos. Do your thing, man. Steve, thanks so much for the raid. Hope you're having a good one, man. We really should catch up sometime. I'm Spartacus. And Nick Slottle is Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. Nick Slottle, thank you so much for being Spartacus for 14 months. That is an outpouring of support that I feel I am not necessarily worthy to obtain. You should also go follow Nick Slottle, who's a great streamer that does art, also does animation stuff, and is the creator and donator out of the beneficence of heart of the puppy head emote. Puppy head pat emote. My words are just not working very well. go follow Nixalotl and hang out. Good times there. Occasionally play some games. Does some D&D stuff every now and then if you're into watching D&D campaigns. So, welcome everybody. My name is Shane. I teach history and sociology at college. And on stream, we talk about history. And we try to do it in a way that's not boring. We try to approach topics that are not necessarily covered in what I call the bus tour, right? And Fidelia is Spartacus now. I'm Spartacus. Fit. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I've got some people that have been around the stream since I first started it, and I appreciate everybody that is going to spend some time in their afternoon to come hang out, or whatever time of the day it is. You know, Metran's here and it's like 2 in the morning wherever Metran is. Spend some time in your day to come hang out and talk history on a social media platform where everybody wants to do art or play video games. And, you know, I've got this little niche here where I just run my mouth about history. I appreciate everybody. I really do. I will say, though, the people that have stuck with me for the run have been a consistent... And there's Tad, just being all tatty. Tad. Tad, your kindness, my friend. I'm Spartacus. Tad is Spartacus. We're going to go through all of them. Everybody deserves to be Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. So we've got lots of Spartaci here. 10 gift subs. Holy crap, Tad. That's amazing, man. Lumpy, Aristotle, I see you lurking. Risu, good to see you. Wild Food, welcome in. Cherry Round, how's it going? Send you in. There you go. Kelly, good to see you. Viscera, I see you back there. I'm Spartacus. I don't know how to say Emmerich Scion. Oh my gosh, I probably butchered that so much. And Schmonite. The love just keeps coming. I think it would be Spartaci. Spartaci, I think. We are Legion. Smartacus, indeed. I'm Spartacus. This is just too great. Well, Spartacus was Roman, right? So Spartaci would probably be the correct translation there. He definitely got crucified on the road going to Rome, so. Oh, but he was a Thracian, wasn't he? So his name wouldn't have been Latin. Oh, I see what you did there. So it'd probably be Spartacae. It's plural. No. I don't know. Tad, my friend, thank you so much. That was love congealed. If you're not following my friend Tad, you really should. As you can see, dude's got lots of heart and is a really cool guy that builds awesome big robots like I do. And I get to go there and grouse about all of the Gundam shows that we've both watched and why this one is way too talky and that one's way too shooty. Tad, thank you so much. That is very, very kind of you, my friend. And I really can't say anything else but thanks. But that was great, man. I really do appreciate that. And congratulations to everybody that is now Spartacus, because the world is, just a little bit brighter with you having that lovely adventure hat in your repertoire. So enjoy the emotes, use them as frequently as you want, and the world will level things out, right? Anything for the community. Tad, you're a great dude. You're a great dude. You don't get as much love as you should. All right. Tad also has amazingly good taste in music, and I've very quietly Shazammed several songs that have played in the background of his stream and gone and looked them up. Bits and Bite, what up? Good to see you. How's it going? All right, so after dun 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 Infamous Death 03. Thank you so much for that follow, and welcome to the adventure. Hope you're having a good one. Everybody that came in on the raid, please feel free to be as involved as you would like. Don't feel bad about asking questions. They're good. See, it says right there, ask them. It doesn't matter if they're even related to the stuff that we're talking about. If it's history related or something that you want to know, throw that junk out there, because, you know, we're all here to talk and have a good time and learn in a constructive and supportive environment full of people that love each other and never ever argue about anything, except for me, who argues about everything. Anyway, so Herman von Salza, big important guy, bought a whole bunch of stuff. Things are going pretty well. And then, well, stuff doesn't go so great overall. And specifically over in Hungary. The king at the time is this guy named Andrew II of Hungary. And I found this small photo of him here. So this is Andrew II, king of Hungary. And he didn't really like the Teutonic Order very much. Specifically, he was a little worried at how fast they were gaining power. They had already built about 5 castles in the area in just a few years. So things are progressing rapidly, as you might, like, oh, that progressed rapidly. Or what was the phrase from Anchorman? I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. That escalated quickly. And Andrew doesn't like the idea that people like Herman von Salza here are playing in the political world now, that they have big friends like the Holy Roman Emperor now, that they're gaining territory all over the place now, that he just doesn't like this. So he decides, I'm going to kick him out. I'm going to kick him out of Hungary. And this was kind of a big deal, because when he kicked them out of Hungary, he sort of like confiscated a lot of their stuff, which was not really something that he was supposed to do, because all of that was technically owned by the order, which was technically owned by the church, right? Because it, again, was a purely religious order. So when some of this stuff gets taken, it's like, can he really do that? And there's a lot of hurt feelings right here. And the Teutonic Order is really going to keep its eyeball on trying to get back into Hungary for quite some time. But things are going to shift in focus very, very heavily, specifically up to the Northern Crusades. So again, these are going to be targeting people that are in sort of this north and eastern chunk of Europe, along the Baltic coast into Germany and around Poland and Lithuania and Latvia and Estonia, etc. So these regions up here. I too would be upset to have a castle taken away, not to mention 5. Yeah, especially 5 brand new ones that had just been completed within the last couple of years. It was not so great. And the Christian leaders that are in this area, this northeastern region of Europe, were very tired of these non-Christian people coming in, causing trouble, raiding in. Of course, there had been issues with external people, like people from the steppe. You have all these groups like Khazars, and you have Mongols, and you have all these different groups that are causing trouble. And what this is going to really sort of solidify is the need for a stable hand and a centralized force of people that are going to go up and try to Christianize this area. And that's going to be the Teutonic Order. They're going to sort of get the go-ahead to be the point of the spear, as it were, that's going to Christianize this region. And so they're going to start taking territory. Now, they already had some land that von Salza had received from Frederick II in Prussia, but they're going to begin expanding that pretty rapidly. And by 1230, the Pope is going to sanction them to actually control a country. So this is the first Teutonic state. And this is going to be something that is going to grow very rapidly and with a lot of bloodshed. But the Order of Teutonic Knights is going to turn into a country that has its own government, that has its own political structure, that does things like taxes and junk like that. The Grand Master is going to become even more political at this point because he's now also a head of state. Well, I mean, the Pope was the head of state, but the Grand Master was the guy that was running the things on the ground, right? So, yeah, defending a hospital to having its own country. And this happened in about 100, or not even 100 years, right? So from the Siege of Acre was in 1190. We're in 1230. So in 40 years, they go from, we're just a lowly bunch of guys and we're going to take care of this hospital and make sure that people don't harm the sick, to our Grand Master is now the head of a state. And a large portion of this, again, is Von Salza's work. This guy is great. Well, great with, like, he's a powerful leader, not like he's a good guy. He plays a lot of politics, and the Teutonic Order actually gets really sick of him and makes him go back to Jerusalem for a little while because he had been playing so much European politics. They're like, our capital is here, not in Prussia. Get your butt back here. Anyway, they sort of politely get him back to the Holy Land, and there's this whole other stuff going on. Anyway, when they get the state, things start moving pretty quick. There's a region, there's an order of Catholic knights that was in this region already called the Order of Deberzen. And in 1234, they're going to just basically swallow them up. They're going to continue expanding to get to the region of Livonia, which is sort of Livonia is kind of this region. This is not really accurate, but kind of this region. There was an order up there called the Livonian Brothers of the Sword. And in 1237, because of the power of the Teutonic Order, not Livonia, Michigan. I would bet, though, that Livonia, Michigan is named after the Livonian Order because there are a lot of people from this area that ended up moving to the Great Lakes region of the United States of America. So lots of Northern European migrants to that area. So I would bet that Livonia might have even been settled. I don't know the specific history, but might have been settled by people from this region that were Lithuanian, maybe Polish. Livonian. Now that's what the guide in Riga was talking about. Yeah. So there was an order of. So the particular monastic order was the Livonian Brothers of the Sword, and this is a whole other monastic group that had sort of been given the Crusade kingdom, or the Crusade banner, to go up and fight the non-Christians in this area. And they're going to make an arrangement with the Teutonic Order, and they're going to merge because the Livonian Order had some territory as well. The Teutonic Order was expanding in their direction. So we're going to end up having this weird order of arrangement. So basically, there's going to be a Prussian branch of the Teutonic Order that's down here, and then there's going to be a Livonian Order up here. And each one of them is going to have a master that's over it. So there's going to be like the master of the Prussian Order and the master of the Livonian Order. And then there's going to be a Grand Master that's over everything. But the Livonian Order is going to have more autonomy to do a lot of stuff. And it's typically going to be a little bit less attached to the Grand Master than the Prussian Order is. And there are some reasons for that. Most notably, these are the new people that are being brought in. And, the Grand Master had always come from the Prussian side of stuff, or the German side of things, not, the other side. We'll get some shifts in that later on, but, we'll get there. They just named it after Livonia, New York. Oh, well, didn't know that. There we go. So this happens again in 1237, and at this point, they control a big chunk of land, sort of right around in this area. And they begin to enforce Christianization. And when I say enforce Christianization, what I mean here is they literally start forcing people to convert to Christianity. And it's very, very bloody. And in 1260, for 14 years, they're going to fight a war that's called the Great Prussian Uprising. Now, this is going to be an important period of time for several different reasons. Number one, the native peoples of these territories did not like the idea of being forced into Christianity. There are a lot of atrocities that kind of happen in this area. This is not done in a very positive way. There are a lot of it doesn't matter because we're sanctioned by the church kind of excuses going on here. And the way that a lot of this stuff goes down does not sit well with one side or the other of the order. A lot of the stuff that happens in this is, again, Great Prussian Uprising. A lot of the stuff that the Grand Master does during this particular period of time for these 14 years or so, again, this is 1260 to 1274, doesn't sit well with the Livonian order, because while they had done their own little thing, they didn't necessarily sanction some of the links that the Prussians were going to go to. And this is going to kind of establish almost like a different flavor of Teutonic order. And it's going to serve as a point in time where the Livonian order, who had sort of come into the Teutonic world thinking we're going to be, we're going to join up, we're going to merge, and over time we're going to be one group. They're realizing that they're still kind of considered outsiders, and also a lot of the people that they were sort of working with and watching over are going to watch the Prussian side, and I mean the Livonians are going to participate in this as well, but the Prussians are making most of the decisions. Do a lot of really nasty stuff. So the people of this region are not going to think very kindly of the Teutonic order in most cases, and inside of the order there are going to be some pretty clear rifts between the different sides. Now, by 1295, the uprising, of course, is it's sort of what we might call peter out in 1274, but there's going to be more pacification that has to go on. There's going to be laws put in place. There's going to be forced conversion. There's going to be burning of, traditional religious locations and all kinds of really not great stuff. But things are going to go awry in 1291. And in 1291, their castle over here that was right outside of Acre is going to fall. So they're going to need a new headquarters. And there's a little bit of a question as to where to put the headquarters. Should we put it like in Prussia, or should we put it up in, some of the more Baltic territory, or where do we put it? Well, they settle on kind of a middle ground area in a place called Malbork in Poland. But the specific castle here is a castle called Marienburg. And it is in the city of Malbork, which is in modern-day Poland. And in... so I should note this. For a little while, they spend some time in Venice. So they leave Montfort Castle, and they move to Venice. And they're there for almost 20 years, but for whatever reason, that doesn't work for them. This focus on the northern part of Europe was probably the bigger draw. I did actually ask one of my friends who has lived in Venice and is a Venetian historian if he knew any kind of scuttlebutt as to why the Teutonic Order left Venice, and his answer was they probably were just more focused on what was going on up in the north, and that makes sense to me, but I didn't know if it was like shady dealings. Anyway, Marienburg Castle. Today in Poland, you can go see this. It is the largest brick castle in Europe, and it's pretty honkin' cool. So you can go check this out. Oh, I only have one picture of that. Oh, I knew what I was going to do. I was going to zoom in on it on Google Earth. because we can do that because we have the power of Google Earth. It's only a model. Yeah, so I was going to zoom in on it using the power of Google Earth. You look at castles like they're centerfolds. That's your decision to make. And we can do this because we can do this. That did not do what I wanted it to do. Oh, this is the one in Germany. Let's go over to the one that's in Poland and we'll actually look at the right one. Hey, look at there. There we go. I checked this ahead of time to make sure that we could do stuff like walk around in the castle. And we can. It's pretty cool. Of course, I would pick one that's not actually in the castle. So let me... I have messed up. Exit ground level view. Thank you. Let's go in the castle. Can I go in the castle? Yeah, there we go. So, check it out. If you want to go check this out yourself, you can go walk around in this castle. And it's made out of brick. And again, biggest brick castle in Europe. Pretty cool. Very pretty. Beautiful stuff. And we can go inside and check out stuff like the chapel, which has really cool Gothic ceilings and great pointy Gothic stuff and a really cool tile floor. Yeah, great stuff. So I'm going to try to do more stuff like this, especially because Google Earth has decided that they're going to go inside more places. One of these is literally called the toilet tower. I think it might be this one. Can we go inside the toilet tower? I don't know if this is actually the toilet tower. Anyway, they had a latrine in it. Does it include all of those feet without people attached? No. Usually detached feet is something that you see after a battle, not necessarily while you're on a, on a vacation. Depends on where you go on vacation, I guess. Anyway, check that out. Marienburg, it's in Malbork. I should tap that because apparently that is needed. Malbork, Poland. Anyway, so that's the castle that they moved to. That's their new headquarters. They get there by 1309. And they build that, actually. They build that from there's a previous castle that was there, but they build the brick structure. Now, we've got a new base. It's right up there in that region. What are we going to do with it? Well, I say we should conquer Lithuania. Okay, well, conquering Lithuania is not as easy as it sounds, is it? Well, the Teutonic Order decides that's what we're going to do. So they invade the Lithuanian region, which at that time was run by some Christian people. And the Christian Lithuanians are going to ally with the Polish Christians and go, you can't invade our territory. And the Teutonic Order is going to be like, well, you're the wrong kind of Christian. And you also have a lot of pagan people there, and we don't like that very much, so we're going to do it anyway. One does not simply conquer Lithuania, right? Well, I mean, if you're the Teutonic Order, you do. They're going to end up teaming up with the Bohemians, another sort of one of the states. Well, Bohemia was one of the states of the Holy Roman Empire. And they're going to create an alliance with Bohemia, and they're going to end up conquering Lithuania. They're going to basically buy Estonia from the Danes in 1346. And this is part of the larger goal to take Lithuania. So Estonia is the top one here. and they're invading from this region to take Lithuania down here. So they're going to buy Estonia, and then they got them in the pincher movement, like kind of grab them. What's up, Uncle Bill? Good to see you. How's it going? The Teutonic Order and the Lithuanians are. How much does Estonia cost? That's a great question, Green Herring, and I don't know the answer. I'm sure that we could find that if we dug around for a little while. I don't know how much it cost, but if you're going to buy a whole duchy, you got a little bit of side money on the side, right? Probably more than a roof, but I don't know. Roofs are pretty expensive. So the Teutonic Order is actually really, really outnumbered by the Lithuanian army. The difference here is that they have much better fighters, they have better arms, they have better armor, and they have better tactics. So even though they're outnumbered, they're going to end up winning this. But it's not an easy battle. The war stretches out for about 30 years to take Lithuania, and it's only really wrapped up in 1370 when the Teutonic Order ends up taking Vilnius, which is the capital of Lithuania. And this was an extensive amount of effort, a lot of lives lost, a lot of bad blood. The Polish are not going to like this at all. The Lithuanians, of course, are now a conquered people. They don't care for that in the least. But this is going to put the Teutonic Order on the map as a really sizable country. So if we look at them in about 1408, is good blood a thing? Oh yeah, you want good friendly people with you. So in 1408, they're kind of at their height, but look how big this country is. Compared to other countries in the region, this is a big deal. They're going to control the entire coastline of the Baltic Sea here. So somebody had mentioned Gdansk earlier. Here's Gdansk. It's ancient city Danzig. But, I mean, they do end up losing some of this back. We'll talk about that in just a second. But this is a big country, and it's a big, powerful country. You need your balance, your humors. Yeah, exactly. You need more, what is it, phlegm or bile or yellow humor? I can't remember all the names of the humors. I could use some good humor, which is a type of ice cream, because I have been craving ice cream for like a long time. I had an opportunity to go and get some today. We were at the grocery store, and they had ice cream buy one, get one free, but I didn't do it because I'm trying to eat better. So in this early 1400s, the Teutonic Order of Knights and the Teutonic State is going to be at its height of power. They have made a lot of enemies along the way, though. A lot of enemies along the way. And they're really not very unified anymore. The Livonian Master has almost become an autonomous operative within the larger order. And sometimes, because of the politics of the regions, the Grand Master takes one position, and the Master of the Livonian Order ends up taking another position, and this is public. So it's not just like, we're sitting around the planning table in the meeting, and, those darn Livonians are causing trouble at all the meetings, and they're asking questions at the end of it when the Grand Master says, all right, we can wrap up now if anybody doesn't have any more questions. No, this is like in public. Two political heads of state, where the Livonian Master will sort of like, contradict the Grand Master or take a position that is diametrically opposed to the Grand Master. And the rift was always there, right? It goes back over 100 years, but by this point, it's really, really evident that the Livonians and the Prussians aren't really getting along very well. Get some Halo Top ice cream. The lemon flavor is pretty creamy. I know that I have had lemon ice cream before, but it's been so long that I can't remember if I like it. I do like lemon flavor, but I don't know if I would be. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to say here, because I'm not making this very clear. If I had the entire pantheon of ice cream flavors in front of me, I don't know if I would naturally gravitate towards lemon. Um, Fruity ice cream is absolutely a thing, right? Cherry ice cream, great stuff. Lemon ice cream, I've had it and I didn't hate it, so sure. Orange sherbet, the stuff, right? Um, so it has its own little niche, but when I think about ice cream, I'm much more in the would pair well with coffee kind of world, right? Where we're in our chocolate or our nutty flavors or a cinnamon or a caramel. I would like, I mean, just like, and I'm with you, Moose. I would really just like ice cream, even if it was just vanilla. I'm a big fan of like the homemade vanilla flavored ice cream. My grandmother used to make that stuff, and I would eat the crap out of that junk. Or if it's got some Oreos, cool. If it's got some chocolate syrup, cool. But I'll eat just straight vanilla ice cream. I like vanilla ice cream, and I've mentioned this on stream before. It sort of irks me a little bit as a historian where vanilla has been turned into something that just means plain. You go back to the medieval period, like what we're right now, where we're talking about in 1408, and say I've got some vanilla ice cream. That's not plain. Those people are going to beat the door down to have that vanilla ice cream because vanilla was ridiculously expensive at that point and was not common in Europe at all. Vanilla doesn't mean plain. Vanilla just means vanilla. Right. I'm very basic. Vanilla is my jam, right? Because vanilla becomes whatever else I want it to. That's fair. That's fair. Mint chocolate chip. Musical Bible nerd. My wife is a really big fan of the chocolate mint flavor profile. I think that it's okay, but the balance has to be right. There's a certain amount of chocolate to mint that has to happen. And if it's not balanced the right way, it can get not so tasty. Chocolate and vanilla exotic tropical flavor. Yeah, exactly, right. Take me into any new parlor and say, I want to try their vanilla. Yeah, Uncle Bill is like looking for the truest of vanilla ice creams. You should make a documentary about that. Uncle Bill and the Vanilla Bean. I would watch the heck out of that. I would do the voiceover for that. Uncle Bill walks into the restaurant, and you see Uncle Bill walking into the restaurant, and he's like, he looks, surveys the scene. They have 6 kinds of vanilla here. They have vanilla bean. They have French vanilla. They have home vanilla. Uncle Bill goes, which one's the best? And then spends the next hour eating all of them. Anyway, you have a coworker, when buying coffee creamers for the office, bought vanilla because he legit thought that was the basic unflavored type. That's fair, right? That's fair. Brittany's like, oh yes, I like the mint chocolate chip. Just yesterday, we were at Hobby Lobby and got some Andes mints that are mint and chocolate because my wife really likes that flavor profile. And we got some Andes mints in a bag. Not very expensive either. Like $1.60, $1.70, something like that. Which for candy now is ridiculous because that whole bag was basically the same price as a Snickers bar. Like, so a Snickers bar, a regular size Snickers bar was $1.79 in Hobby Lobby. And a bag, like a bag of Andes mints was $1.79. Mint and chocolate, it is. I like it. It just has to be done in the right balance, and it can get off, and it can skew too far to the mint. And Moose is just like, get on with it. Okay, let's get on with it. So, things are going pretty great for our buddies, but it doesn't go great forever. And by 1410, the enemies of the Teutonic Order had become really upset with him. And at a big battle called the Battle of Grunwald. Did I spell that correct? I did. Grunwald. They are going to get soundly defeated by a combined army of Poland and Lithuania. And when I say soundly defeated, I mean the Grand Master was on the field and he got killed. And a lot of the upper leadership was on the battlefield and they got killed too. So we're talking probably 20-ish% of the leadership, including the Grand Master, get killed in one battle. And this is a pretty big moment where everybody kind of goes, oh crap, the Polish and the Lithuanians are teaming up and they're formidable. And the Teutonic Order had been used to manipulating the Polish with the threat of the Holy Roman Empire and then just beating up on the Lithuanians. But now with the combined Voltron version of Poland-Lithuania, they've got a blazing sword and they're coming for you, bud. It doesn't look great for them. So that's in 1410. About 40 years later, in 1454, there's going to be a war that kicks up called the 13 Years' War. And the 13 Years' War runs from 1454 to 1466. And specifically here, this war is between the Teutonic Order and Poland, who has teamed up with other Prussians. So this is even turning bad because the Prussian side of the Teutonic territory was supposed to be the stable side of things. What is it with Europe and the X Years' War, right? I mean, seems so unimaginative. They usually use that because there are so many different belligerents in the war that it would be hard to say the war where the Teutonic Order and some Bohemians and a couple of Livonian Order people fought against the Polish and the Lithuanians and the Prussians. When you end up with this giant list of belligerents on both sides, it's hard to just call it like the Franco-Prussian War, right? Because you kind of have to boil things down. So, this is a big deal because in the midst of this, they are going to lose their castle at Marienburg. They're going to end up having to use it as payment for mercenaries. They get beaten so badly in this war that they have to start hiring on mercenaries, and then they can't pay their mercenaries, so they end up having to trade their castle so that the mercenaries will keep fighting for them. That's how bad things get for them. And that's not a good place to be as the Teutonic Order, right? It's like ending the war with the Treaty of Versailles, right? Pretty much. What did they call the war while it was going on, I wonder? So, let's see. 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. So what is that? 10, 13? Yes, 13 years old. What's up? What's up, Evolve? I want to call you Evolve yourself. Everybody go follow Evolve Yourself TV. Agni's a great dude. Really smart guy. Teaches chess. Does guided meditation. Cool stuff. Probably The War. Yeah, I would probably say they would go with The War. What does anybody call The War? That's a great question while it's going on. That would be a really, really fascinating story to dig into. This appeals to me both as a sociologist and as a historian. What do people call the wars while they're going on? That's a great question. I don't have time to research this. I don't have time to research this. But that's a fascinating question because it's so sociologically loaded, right? Like, what do you call it while it's going on? Yeah, they probably just call it the war, but how the governments cast this is a really important part in keeping morale and promoting the war. Anyway, we don't have time to worry about all this stuff. 13 Years' War, it goes really badly, and the Teutonic Order loses it. Special military operation. See, that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking about, KP, right? Like, there's a war going on in Ukraine right now, and they don't call it a war. They call it a special military operation, right? That's the kind of sociological junk that I find fascinating. Also, Putin is a jerk and needs to leave. there's no justification for the war in Ukraine, except for I have a very big ego, and I think I can take whatever I want. Anyway, UN peacekeeping mission, that's another one, right? So they have to move their castle again. And they move to Königsberg Castle. Now, this is Königsberg Castle. And Lumpy, if you're still here, this is a sad story. Because this is one of the last pictures of Königsberg Castle, because this is in that little part of Russia that is not connected to Russia. And in 85, Brezhnev decided that dun dun dun. Scar Brutal, thank you so much for that follow, and welcome to the adventure. So Königsberg, and if we look at the map here, and we put on the modern borders, we'll note that there's this little sliver of Russia that's right here. That's not connected. This is Kaliningrad, right? We're even going to change the name of the city from Königsberg to Kaliningrad, because, you know, we do all this stuff in Russia. Anyway, they tore the castle down because it was a relic of a bygone era where Christians did things not orthodox. And Königsberg Castle no longer exists, which is unfortunate because it looked very, very pretty from the few photos that remain. Yeah, so I know that I had to break your heart with that one. And anytime a castle dies, it's a sad thing, right? But anyway, it's not around anymore. I don't know what's there, but I would bet that Brutalist Offices is not a bad guess, especially under Brezhnev. That's kind of his view of the world, right? The U.S. calls them police actions. That's fair. That's fair. How's this crusade-related activity going, right? So, anyway, they move up to Königsberg. This is not a good point for them. Not a good point for them at all. So, one of the things that happens as a result of the 13 Years' War is that the Grand Master of the Teutonic Order is forced to swear an oath of fealty to the Polish. And that was not supposed to be doable, because the Teutonic Order was never supposed to be a political order. It was supposed to be a purely religious order and only answer to the Pope. They were not supposed to take oaths of fealty to political groups. But they did, and they basically became a very unwilling tool of Poland, Lithuania for a little while. We're going to get out from under that, but it's not going to be in a pleasant way a little bit later on. But things are going downhill. By the time we get to the 1500s, we're going to get to Albert de Brandenburg. Unwilling Tool is the band that never released an album. Or they, well, that's, anyway. Albert de Brandenburg. Who is he? He is this guy. Albert de Brandenburg. Now, he becomes dun 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 dun. Artistic Bum. Thank you so much for that follow, and welcome to the adventure. He looks a bit off. Maybe, I don't know. Well, I don't know if that's an intentional thing or if that's artistic license, because, I mean, we're still trying to figure out things like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's up with his eyes. I do note that they are not the best. His countenance is messed up. Right. He's got, like, one eye on the bishop's line and one eye on the rook's line. Anyway, Albert de Brandenburg. What's up, Allie Briggs? How's it going? Let's do some other shout outs. We got a lot of people in the room here. We've got Allie Briggs art that just came in. Allie Briggs art is an amazing artist that does fantasy art, D&D kind of theme stuff, dragon kind of stuff, does traditional art and digital art, and is the sister that I never had. And if I ever got to adopt another sister, Allie Briggs would probably be like, I don't know, like, Allie Briggs is legit. You could go follow Allie Briggs. Who else is in here? We got Lumpy Dragon Potato. Lumpy is the reason that we're having this one. He is the Minecraft wizard that bought tonight's viewer request stream. Go follow Lumpy because he's a cool dude. Did I miss anybody else? Oh, I didn't. I don't think I shouted out. Go follow David Peterson. Good guy. Does great artwork. Is good friend. Has a lot of stuff that's going on in the comic book world. If you're familiar with Mouse Guard, that's his creation, right? You'll pick streaming back up tomorrow night. All right, Lumpy. You have one brother and two sisters, and your brother's always told me he wished he had another brother. Well, there we go. There we go. I did not do Color by Emmy, but I should, because Color by Emmy is awesome. And also does digital art and traditional art, does animation stuff. Did the cute little adventure Shane that you see down there in the corner. Did my intro screen that I'll flash over to here for just a second. Helped me lay all this stuff out. Color by Emmy. Great artist and good person. All right, I think that's everybody. But if I missed anybody, make yourself known or share your emotes or do whatever. Oh, I think Aristotle got sneaky and is maybe lurking. Go follow Aristotle. He's a He's a philosophy professor and he's a brilliant dude and has a really big heart and is very kind to people. And you should go give him a follow. Like most people that I know that like really heavy metal, really cool, chill dude. Really cool. Anyway, yeah, he's lurking in the background. What's up with Albert de Brandenburg? Somebody asked me if I know who painted this photo. I don't, but I would bet that you could figure it out. I can't remember who exactly asked that question. Let me see if I can scroll back up and find it. Artistic Bomb. I don't know who painted that one, but I always try to find photos that are in Wikimedia Commons. So if you Google Albert de Brandenburg and go to his Wikipedia page, I got that picture from that page. I try not to use people's work if it's not fair use stuff because I completely respect artists and I don't like the idea of just like grabbing stuff whatever I can. So I try to use stuff that's in Wikimedia Commons for photos. And that particular photo I know is on his Wikipedia page. And I would bet that they have the artist on there. And I probably should know that just to be respectful to the art that I'm using, but I don't, and I'll just say that I don't. Anyway, what is up with Albert de Brandenburg? Why are we talking about him? Okay, well, so first off, he tries to settle this big dispute with Poland, and he takes over as Grand Master in 1510. And this whole Poland running the Teutonic Order thing had just not gone very well at all. Albert is related to some people that are in the royal family of Poland. The guy that's the current king is one of his family members, and he's trying to work all this stuff out, and it just doesn't work. And this leads to the Teutonic Polish War, which runs from 519 to 521. And this is really bad. The Teutonic Order was already in bad shape. The war is going to pretty much devastate what they have left. Prussia gets wrecked. Their Prussian territories are just really, really, really damaged here. And Albert reaches out to the Holy Roman Empire, and he's like, look, we've always been friends. We've got special status within the Holy Roman Empire. Remember that the territory that we have in Prussia was a gift from the Holy Roman Empire, and now that land is going to the Polish. Do you really want to see that happening? And unfortunately for the Teutonic Order, there's something else going on in the Holy Roman Empire right now, and it has to do with this guy. It had to do with this guy. So this guy is Martin Luther. And if you know anything about Martin Luther, he's causing a bit of a stir at this period of time in the Holy Roman Empire. And the guy that is the head of the Holy Roman Empire is this guy, who's Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor. And Charles V has his hands full with all of these new Protestants. And I should note, Protestant is the right way to pronounce that word. Over time, as a way to kind of soften Protestant, you shift the emphasis to Protestant, because then you're pro something, right? We're Protestants. We're not Protestants because we don't protest, do we? But let's remember that Protestant comes from we're protesting the Catholic Church. That's the whole purpose of it. Whole purpose of it, right? You have a sword that's a Charles V replica. Oh, interesting. There's another streamer that I missed. Infernal. Go follow Infernal, who has an apple. That's a reference to Infernal's going live thing, which is usually Lulu, I have an apple. Infernal plays games and talks smart things, and sometimes does stuff like arts and crafts, and does some cosplay stuff every now and then. Other sociologists in the room, so if you like talking sociology, go hang out with Infernal. Because he's bad, yeah, exactly. You do have an apple, thank you. He's so stylish with a single glove, he made it cool way before Michael Jackson did. There we go. Anyway, de Brandenburg reaches out to Charles V and goes, hey, help your Catholic buddies out. And Charles V's answer is, I got nothing for you, bud. You're going to just have to deal with it by yourself. And de Brandenburg gets kind of ticked off at this. And he's like, you know what? If you're not going to help a good Catholic boy like me, I'm just going to convert to Lutheranism. Now, this is kind of a shock. Because, again, this is the head of the Teutonic Order who had been Catholic for ever. Dispensations from the Pope, set up by the Pope, run by the Catholic Church. The Grand Master decides, I'm just going to be Lutheran. And oh boy, does that shock everybody. Well, what you going to do then? If you're the Lutheran head of a Catholic Knight Order, this is even bigger. Albert de Brandenburg decides that he's going to take the territory, outrage, total outrage, take the Prussian territory that he controls as Grand Master and basically declare himself the Duke of that territory and then secularize it. He's going to say, you know what? This territory here in Prussia, not by the church anymore, not part of the Catholic Church. I protest the Catholic Church. I am now Duke of Brandenburg, or, Duke of Prussia, and I'm going to swear loyalty to my uncle, who's the King of Poland. So how about that, Roman Catholics? Big deal. Big deal. When the Grand Master of one of the three largest, monocle drops into the tea, right? Like, he did what? He doth protest a bit much, right? Le gasp. This is a huge deal. And this is a blow to not just the Holy Roman Empire, the Teutonic Order overall, but the larger Roman Catholic world. When we're just going to go Protestant, we're just going to secularize, and we're going to swear loyalty to Poland. Now, as a response to this, Charles V goes, oh, that ain't right. No. Bad Teutonic Order. Bad. So how are you going to fix this? Well, you're going to overhaul the structure of the Teutonic Knights. And first off, he strips de Brandenburg of the title Grandmaster, and he merges basically Landmaster, which was the title of the person who controlled the territories of the Teutonic Order, with Grandmaster. And so he makes one new head of the Teutonic Order, and then he decides, we're going to move you to Germany. We're going to put your headquarters inside Germany. Grandmaster? No, not Grandmaster. Grandmaster. So they're going to move to Mergentine Palace, which is going to be where Charles puts them, which is this. This sounds like Freemasonry. Well, Freemasonry gets a lot of its titles and ideas from this sort of thing. I don't know if I'm more upset that you went Protestant or if that you went Polish. That's a fair question. Armed with a sandblaster, right? We're just going to fix all of this. Just all of this. A pineal gland master one day. Oh, yeah. Unlocking the old pineapple, or not pineapple, pinecone gland, right? Evolvers, Agni, have you ever heard of the theory? And this, I don't particularly support this, I'll tell you up front, but have you ever heard the theory, and I'll come back over here because we're not really talking about that, especially ancient Iranian and Zoroastrian imagery where people are holding pine cones, that this was supposed to represent the pineal gland. Also, if you go to the Vatican, in one of the Vatican gardens, there's a giant pine cone. And a lot of people say that this is the sort of understanding that the mind is the key to everything, and that if you can control the mind, you can control the world. Because the pineal gland is shaped sort of like a pine cone. Have you ever run into any of that stuff? Yeah, DMT. Right. So DMT, of course, a psychoactive substance that we produce naturally on small amounts, but we can get from other substances that we ingest that can make us go like, wee. That's an interesting theory. I just didn't know if you'd ever run into that one before. So if you look at a lot of stuff from Iran and ancient Persia, you'll see like genies holding pine cones. If I had more time, I could probably go dig stuff up that I've got that are photos of this. But anyway, we're running out of time, and I got to get through stuff. Mergentine Palace, new capital, new place. They get put there by Charles, and he basically decides that he's going to sort of rewrite the order, and he is going to reorganize this a lot. They're going to switch from being a military order to be more of a feudal order. And they're going to shift from being a active on the battlefield participant to more of a behind the scenes tactical command structure. And this is because Charles got tired of having to solve their problems. But the hits keep coming, friends. And we're going to talk here about a guy named Goddard Kettler. I need to hit the enter button. Goddard Kettler. Who is this guy? Now, if you'll recall me saying, Charles V combined Grandmaster and Prussian Landmaster into one new title. What about the Livonian Order? Oh, well, there's a great question. What about the Livonian Order? Well, this guy, Goddard Kettler, was the head of the Livonian Order, and he gets this position in 558 when there's a big war going on. So there's a war between Russia and Poland in this area. It's called the Livonian War. It's very, very bloody. But in the middle of this, Goddard Kettler is going to get the title of Livonian Master. Is he holding a chocolate bar? No, he's holding a big ruffle of his jacket. So it's kind of the lining of his overcoat here that he's holding on to. So he's sort of doing like I've got my Oh, the other hand. I don't know what that is. I couldn't tell you. Maybe that's some sort of document that's supposed to mean that he's intelligent and can read. Maybe that's gloves. Could it be a glove? Maybe these are the fingers. I don't know. Ancient cell phone. We could call it chocolate. Maybe it's a big slab of chewing tobacco. Um, Probably not chewing tobacco. That really didn't get kicked off until the 1600s when the Virginia colony got off the ground and running. Probably not tobacco. What's the name of the painting? This again, I got this off of Wikimedia Commons. Goddard Kettler on Wikipedia, and grab his picture. Could be some symbolism of station. I think it's probably either a writing glove or a document that's rolled up to signify some sort of power. Very common in portraiture. It's right here below me. I don't know if you can actually see the screen though. Allie, that's you could just be listening. Like, do you not see the screen? Anyway, what is he and why is he a big deal? He got the Livonian Order master position, and he decided, you know what? I'm tired of being in this mess. The Livonian Order had been sort of shortchanged for a while, and he decides, I'm going to pull an Albert de Brandenburg. So Kettler converts to Lutheranism, and he decides in the Treaty of Vilnius, which ends the First Livonian War, that he's going to turn himself into a secular state, and he's going to swear allegiance to the Grand Duke of Lithuania. So all of that Livonian / Baltic territory that the Teutonic Order had, well, guess what? Now he's a duke. So what's really left at this point? Well, there's not a lot. The territory had been mostly stripped down. They had, and Charles V is not done. He's actually going to rewrite the entire order from top to bottom in 1606 and completely revamp how the entire order works. He's not. Yeah, is he going to do that? Yeah, he does that. I'm pretty sure. I now can't remember if that's Charles V or not. The order gets rewritten in 1606, and it's at the command of the Holy Roman Empire. I think Charles is dead by that point. I don't think that's Charles V. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, what are they going to do? Well, there's not really a lot left. There's a little bit of political power left. Yeah, there are not very many members left. They do have a little bit of military power. They do have a fair amount of organized, fortified locations. They still have some territory down in Greece around this time. They had some territory still kind of scattered out in some of the area that they used to control. But really, they're going to shift to being commanders on the military field. They're going to be very educated individuals who are going to be called upon to help make tactical decisions. They're going to do a little bit of fighting. But over the next 200 years or so, they're not really going to be very active on the battlefield because there just aren't very many of them left. They shift to a more what we might call, I guess, feudal model, right? Where instead of being a purely military group, they're more of a political group that has military backing behind it to a certain extent. And that is until this guy. If you know who that guy is this where they start being about creating puzzles that only Tom Hanks can solve? I don't think so. I don't think so. Anyway, why are we showing a picture of Napoleon? Well, if you know anything about Napoleon, he beats up the Germans. And in 1805, he wrecks the Holy Roman Empire. Well, at that point, it really wasn't even the Holy Roman Empire. It was just a whole bunch of states that were pretending to be the Holy Roman Empire. But anyway, in 1805, he ends the German unification concept. And not wearing any pants. He was wearing pants. He just had very tight pants with high... yeah, he beats up everybody. And he's going to make it very clear that the Teutonic Order is no longer military, period. He sort of bullies them into dropping all concepts of military stuff because he wants all of their castles, right? He wants all of their locations of strength. Whoever was asking about the hand, it might be a cup. His wife is in the painting as well, holding a metal chalice and they're surrounded by food, possibly a symbol of luxury. Ooh. Ooh. Look at Allie with the art history lesson. Okay, I see it. Okay. Yeah. That is such a poorly rendered dog. I mean, the body is in perspective, and then the face is just not in perspective. Poor pupper. Nope, that's the wrong one. Yeah. Look at this pupper. He's... Poor pupper. Can I roll down here? Nope, it's just not going to let me. Anyway. He just looks so sad. He looks like he needs a hug, right? At least it's not the human face looking at dog. Yeah, exactly. Right. Where we know how to do one face and we stick it on all of the animals. Like, oh, this is a cat face. Oh, this is a dog face. We just do one face. Right? This is a child, and the child looks like just a small man because we don't understand how to do things in perspective. And humans are just, you know, like babies are just tiny little humans, so we'll just draw them that way. Anyway, in 1809, the head of the order is going to leave the German territory, move down to Vienna, and Vienna in 1809 is going to be the new headquarters, and that's where it still is today. Now, the Teutonic Order is still very much around today. The guy that is in charge is this dude. This guy's name is Frank Bayard. And, of course, at this point, they are not a militaristic order. They are a service order that does a lot of research and aid. They've sort of gone back to their kind of origins as protecting people in hospitals and stuff like that. You know, they do a lot of charitable work, but this guy very much is, not that we know of. Yeah, maybe the Teutonic Order is still secretly working as the assassin squad of the Catholic Church. Exactly, so they want us to believe, right? But anyway, this is Hochmeister Frank Bayard, the head of the current Knights Templar. Not Knights Templar, sorry, good gracious. I've gone all this way and not called them the Templars. And then I screw it up literally on the last slide. Look at me being a dum-dum. The Teutonic Order. So yeah, there we go. So that is a very, very brief rundown of the Knights from the beginning to the end. From the beginning to the end. It was rushed and I skipped over stuff and it's much more complicated than it was presented, but you do what you got when you got to cover, you know, roughly 400 years of history in 2 hours. You are very welcome, Lumpy. That's why viewer requests exist, because I like talking to you all about stuff that I know that you all want to know, because that gets me going, right? That's the love of the stream. And we've got a lot of people that have hung around and good chat tonight, so it just makes it all better. Amazing generosity from people and stuff like that. But that is all for the Teutonic Order of Knights. But we're not done with stream yet, because this is the fun part of viewer request stream now. We get to decide what the next what the next stream is going to be. So if we are in the room, it's about time to do some voting. So here's how we do this. I'm going to take the number 2, so the runner-up from the last poll that we did, which was Catherine the Great of Russia. and I'm going to put her in the list. And now, what I need from you all, we'll take the next 3 that come through that are logical and sane. So, what do you all want to cover? And we're going to put them in the poll, and then we will we'll all vote, and we'll have a good run of things. History of Metroid speedrunning. Not going to do that one. Is Kurdish history too big? Yes. If you could pick a specific era or like 200 years or something like that. Yeah, Vikings is also quite large. And Infamous Death, if you hang around on Thursdays, we go through history in order. And we'll be talking about the Viking invasions in a few weeks. In just a few weeks. The Clash of Encore, do you mean like the Khmer Empire? Because we've already done a viewer request on the Khmer Empire. I don't know enough to pick an era. So this would be like the Kurdish people under the Ottoman Empire or something like that. Even that would be very, very long to do. Modern Kurdish politics, that would be something that could potentially happen. Fall of Constantinople. Yeah, we could do that. End of the Byzantines. We'll eventually get to that one, but it'll be a long time. We've already done Vlad the Impaler. There is a viewer request available for him. And for those of you that might be new or around for the first time, I keep all of the VODs that I can manage. So if you go to my page and go to the videos, I've even organized them in collections. So you can go do stuff like go to the viewer requests collection and find Vlad the Impaler. I think it's like number 3 viewer request. Muslims in Sicily, that's a good one. We can get some Normans talking about that one. I've never been to Sicily, but I want to go. Ooh. Shoot that island. I don't. There are lots of them where they did the glass stuff. You mean Venice? History of why American railroad gauge is based on Roman chariots. It was somewhere. I think you're talking about either Moreno or Venice, and probably it's probably. Okay. I don't know if that's correct completely. I'm going to be honest, and I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. Let me see if I can Google this quickly. Murano. So that's in Venice. So we'll put Murano on there. All right. So here's what's about to happen. Johan, get your sword. Northern Renaissance would have been a good one. We're full though. But hang around. You know, eventually you can either buy that one, and Nixlotl is raiding in. Is that not why you are here? Welcome back in, Nix. Hope that your stream went well. Welcome everybody from Nixlotl stream. My name is Shane. I do history and sociology for a living, and we do history here on stream. And you came in at a great time, because we are about to have ourselves a vote. Tonight is a viewer request night. You can see here the 71st viewer request stream. And we're about to vote on what we're going to do for the next one. And it doesn't matter if you've never been here before or have no idea who I am. If you're in the chat right now, you're about to get to vote. So I'm going to hit the button, and I've hit the button. And what you need to do is look above you in the chat window, and you should see a little little down caret key, and you click on that little guy, and you'll see the poll. And everybody gets to vote. You do not have to be a subscriber. You do not have to be a follower. You just have to be in the sound of my voice. Everybody gets to vote. So go do your thing and go vote. We've got 54 people in the room, so we should have a very lively voting situation going here. So hopefully lots of people, and we do have quite a bit of voting activity going on. So the votes are rigged. I mean, I can, if you want me to, let me see how I would do that. I could pull that here. Nope, yep, there we go. I could do this, and you can even watch the vote happen. So, you know. But, I mean, you can see that in the, the regular thing as well, I believe. Your island is dead. Well, a lot of the islands in the Venetian Lagoon are pretty mushy because of the lagoons, right? So we do have a lot of good participation, but I do want to remind everybody gets to vote. So right now we're only like maybe half the participation of the room. And I know that Steve probably had some longtime lurkers in his chat, but everybody gets to vote. Everybody does. Catherine the Great paid Twitch to win. She rigged the Dominion voting machines. They were really built by, you know, that guy down in Venezuela. Whatever. I'm going to drink my tea here and let my voice rest a little bit. I've had 4 days off of work, so it's been pretty great. I have not talked a lot lately, so I got a lot of good. What's in the news? I don't know. Do you want to talk about something specific or just have me ramble? Why so many train derailments? Deregulation, length of trains being ignored, and capitalism. Has this always been happening? I mean, there have always been some levels of train derailments. Everybody go vote. Don't forget, there's still plenty of time to go. Well, I mean, not plenty of time, but everybody should be going to vote. Go do your vote thing. Let your voice be heard. Or somebody's going to wait till the very end and then vote to try to make a tie or something, and we'll have to have a runoff. Anyway, so I mean, there have always been trains that have derailed, but it's not like this is something that can be completely prevented, right? So there are always going to be some trains that are going to derail. Catherine the Great wins with 42% of the vote. There are always going to be trains that derail. And there's just a certain amount of trains that are going to derail. But the stuff that's been happening lately is because of a confluence of many things. First off, people that are running rail companies are not following guidelines. They're making trains way too long. There is a federally dictated limit of how long trains can be, and they're not paying attention to that. And the reason they're doing that is because it makes them more money. If you've ever wondered why Amtrak is so slow and has been getting worse, it's because the trains that are running on the tracks with Amtrak are so long now that even the split rails where you're supposed to be able to move around each other don't work because the shipping trains are too long. So it just doesn't work, right? So there's that. Also, the working hours and conditions of the average person who works on a train is ridiculous. They're pretty much on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They have no vacation at all. Their health insurance sucks. They're expected to work shifts that are sometimes, multiple days long with effectively no overtime pay because, whatever it is. This was the reason why the train union was trying to go on strike, and Congress passed a really crappy law that forced them back into work, that forced them to take a deal that didn't actually solve any of the problems. It just made them go back to work. The Department of Transportation and the Biden administration played a direct role in this on the negative side. Discredit where discredit is due. They forced people back to work in horrible conditions, and they shouldn't have done that. the regulations on things like chemicals have been broadly overlooked because of, again, expediency and money. The particular thing that happened in East Palestine in Ohio, where all the chemicals spilled, that could have absolutely been prevented and avoided. The train company wasn't following regulations the right way, and they had been basically just expected to skirt the law because there aren't any people really holding anybody accountable. And they weren't even really going to clean up anything until the EPA today told them that they had to, or they're going to take them to federal court. So yeah, there's that. It's a confluence of a lot of negative things, and it's built up over time. And I unfortunately don't see that this is going to be something that is going to be remedied without actual substantive discussion, where people get treated like people instead of like cogs in the machine. I know that's sort of a bleak experience, but you know, that's the thing. I don't necessarily think that's particularly opinionated enough to put on the opinion hat. I think that's fairly objectively grounded. Recently watched season 1 of The Great on Hulu, so you're interested in the real story. Oh, is this about Catherine the Great? If so, I'm interested that there's a show about Catherine the Great. Now the opinion has been summoned. So for those of you that might be new to the stream, this is the Opinion Hat. Doesn't it make me look opinionated? Doesn't it just make me look like I know everything because I'm a Peaky Blinder? Right? Peaky freaking Blinders. I love that show. I can't wait for the last season to come out. Then I'm going to have like an emotional like moment trying to actually watch it because it's the last season. Lumpy, take it easy. Thanks again for buying the show, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Does China want Russia to succeed in Ukraine because they want to pave the way for themselves to invade Taiwan? Okay. Short answer, no. But they are watching really, really carefully. China has learned a ton about how the world is going to align if they do something stupid like try to invade Taiwan. China and Russia had both operated under this sort of consensus idea that the world is actually very, very fragmented, and Europe and Asia and America can't all get on the same page with each other because they're just too into it with each other. And China really... Oh, well, so first off, China likes having Russia around because Russia looks worse than China. So this is the same reason China likes having North Korea around, because North Korea looks like the irresponsible child in the room, and Russia looks like the irresponsible child in the room, and China can then go in as, you know, just about as bad and be the adult that tries to get everybody to calm the heck down and then come out with international points. So they definitely like the idea of Russia looking like an idiot right now. But do they want them to win because they had already planned on taking Taiwan? I don't think that we can say that for certain. China would love to take Taiwan and do so in a way that treats Taiwan like they just did Hong Kong. The issue with that is it is much, much more clear that the world is going to have a negative reaction to that. So Russia invading Ukraine was bad, and it was horrible, and it should not have ever happened, and Russia should withdraw right now and immediately recognize Ukrainian sovereignty and pay reparations in the tune of billions and billions of dollars. They're not going to do that, of course. But even China has admitted that Taiwan is separate, but part of the two governments, one China policy. So everybody's China, but Taiwan is there. Also, America has been much more clear on paper that it is going to defend Taiwan. China has not... They don't have the cover that Putin has, right? you know, nobody had thought to go on paper and say, you know what, we need to make sure that everybody recognizes that Ukraine is Ukraine and not part of Russia, because it was just such a bat crap crazy idea to invade Ukraine in the first place. There are a lot of people that are on record saying, we will not take this if you try to do it. So they don't want Russia to win because that's going to give them cover for Taiwan, but they are also very, very interested in watching how this works, because they are learning a lot from it. And I think that we're going to see a lot of ultimately fruitless gestures from the Chinese central government. They're going to do a lot of stuff like fly planes over Taiwan, or they'll move their warships through the strait, and they'll make a large amount of noise, like banging the drum. But I don't think that they're in a position right now to really do something that stupid. But this gets into my weak China theory, which is, I mean, I'm glad to have the opinion head on. I don't think China's a very strong country right now. They have a big army, they have a really big economy, they have a lot of economic influence. But internally speaking, I really think that they're like one or maybe two really bad days from collapsing. And I'm not even joking right now. But this is a very, very involved thing that would take me another hour and a half to explain. So there's the opinion hat. Maybe that should be the next challenge stream after the all opinion hat, is weak China. One of my friends works at the railroad in Chicago. His proudest moment was when he crashed two trains together. One train was not moving and the other was only going a couple miles per hour, but it caused a ridiculous amount of damage. Wow, that's his proudest moment. I don't even know what to say to that. That's kind of crazy. Wasn't there a factory that exploded a day ago, caused from an earthquake? Ali, I don't know. I'm not sure. I hear you treading around the edges. Perhaps so, but around the edges of what? Lumpy had to go. The Great is about Catherine the Great, though it's semi-comedic, probably not too accurate. Ah, fair. The same reason people like having you around. Green Herring, I missed the antecedent for that. And throw Putin in jail. Yeah, among other things. They'll send a bunch of balloons. The big difference I see is China can just blockade Taiwan. I don't really think that they could. I don't think that China could blockade Taiwan right now. They'd have to completely surround it by air and by water, and I don't think that the world would stand that. I really don't think that. I really don't think that would stand. They could try that, and it might work for a week, and then I think the United Nations would be all over that, led by a combined force of the Philippines and Korea and Japan and America and a united Europe. I don't think that they could make a blockade of Taiwan work. Also, Taiwan is not isolated from our naval forces. Right. To get to there, we have to go into the Black Sea, which is technically, international waters, but it is the way to get in and out is controlled by Turkey, who is supposed to be our ally, but, is also still Turkey. Big army, big companies, 2 meals away from anarchy. Yeah. That's right. They tried to do that with West Germany, and it just turned into a massive PR coup. Yeah. So you're West Berlin, right, Betty. Right, you got it. With the Berlin airlift and all that stuff. Yeah. I don't think that they could. It's not beyond their capacity to try, and it's something that I could see them doing in certain very, very stupid situations. But I don't think that it would stick. All right, rank 3 things: chocolate chip cookies, pecan bars, and brownies. I'm guessing we're just going with the traditional chocolate brownie here. Moose, do I have milk, or am I just eating these plain? Easier to airlift food than massive weapons, and milk is permitted. Okay, because that does change things. Do the brownies have nuts in them, or are they just chocolate brownies? Because if they're just traditional chocolate brownies, that's different than... And the reason is because here I'm trying to draw a more clear distinction between pecan bar and nuts are optional. You go with without. Okay, well, I'll go with without then. So, this is really tough. Because I really love pecans. Like one of my favorites. Really love pecans. But I do have milk. And I think milk is going to be the kicker here. This is a very tight 3. There is not a lot of daylight between these. There's not a lot of daylight between these. And I'm going to go with chocolate chip cookies, pecan bars, and then brownies in the exact order that Moose gave them. But if you had taken away the milk, and if I was just eating them plain, chocolate chip cookie goes from number 1 to number 3. And then you end up with pecan bar, brownie, chocolate chip cookie. But it's a very, very tight 3 regardless of how you go. So like we're running the 100-meter dash and we're all finishing within tenths of a second of each other, right? We're down to a photo finish on this. I saw something a few years ago about some treaty that prevents Turkey from giving other armed navies use of the canal. I know what you're talking about in general. I can say, though, that's never really been enforced. There are Russian warships in the Black Sea right now, and nobody's really held Turkey to enforcing that, especially in the last 10 years or so, as Erdogan has really, really sucked up to Russia. This might be the hardest time. Yeah, I mean, this is a tight, very close. People who put nuts in brownies for public events are evil. I agree. If you're going to do something for public, you try to go with the least potentially allergic thing, right? I followed you, Uncle Bill, though. I followed you. What if I had pilk instead? I don't know what a pilk is. Is it pink milk? Curdled pilk? I don't know what pilk is. I'm going to have to be very honest here. I may have missed some cultural element that I probably should know about. What if I had Pepsi and milk mixed together? Hot no. Like, just flat no. Absolutely no. There's no reason to do that. Why would you do that? Why would you ruin milk? No. 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 Random fact, hippopotamus milk is pink. Hippopotamus milk is pink. The random stuff that you hear on the craziest mixed drink you ever had was red wine and Coca-Cola. That sounds atrocious. One does not mix non-carbonated beverage with carbonated beverage if one of the other ones is milk-based. And one does not mix carbonated beverage with non-carbonated beverage if one of them... I don't know what I'm even saying here. I'm just going to have to stop with this because now I just realized that, a root beer float is technically ice cream, which is milk-based, and carbonated beverage, which is root beer. I'm talking myself into a circle that I'm not going to be able to get out of. I'm not going to be able to get out of this, so I should just drop it. We're talking like pale pink or something like vibrant flamingo pink. It's kind of a pale pink, but it's obviously pink. Yeah, and Kyle was like, but root beer float. And I'm like, I'm catching myself in my own logic after the fact because Pepsi and milk just sounds horrible, and I'm having like a visceral reaction to it. Maybe I'm being ethnocentric right now, and that's just the way that you drink Pepsi and milk. And if anybody's a Pepsi milk fan, just understand that I'm not saying anything about you. I just don't know how that works, and it's scary. Now I'm probably going to have to try it, though. That's what's really messed up. Because now I feel like I might have shortchanged something. It's easier to talk yourself into a square. Yeah, exactly. You got to stay in the middle of the board, right? Middle of the board. Pepsi milk points redeemed. Nah, I don't know if we'll do that. I don't know if we'll do that on stream, right? The New Jersey swamp water. Oh my gosh. All right. Anyway, we need to go do a raid. because it is about time to go, and we're going to wait for just a second because we'll wait for our buddy Aristotle to get on stream. He launched the stream, but he's still coming soon. So I guess we'll talk here for just a little bit more. New Jersey swamp water. Mango Pepsi floats recently. That seems... Mango Pepsi float. So, like, is this like mango sherbet with Pepsi? Because I don't know if that's necessarily bad. I mean, I like cherry Coke and I like cherry Dr. Pepper. I don't know if I've ever had mango with a soda before. Mango Pepsi plus ice cream. I didn't know that there was a mango Pepsi. The region of the world that I'm in is very much not a Pepsi area. We are much more of a Coca-Cola area. So yeah. If there are, I'm not in Atlanta. I am further south latitudinally than Atlanta. You want a Sprite? Ask for a Coke. Yes, it's where Coke can mean anything. Like, hey, you want a Coke? Yeah, what do you want? I don't know. Bring me a Dr. Pepper. Right. People tend to put Sprite in their sangria. I'm not a big drinker, so I don't know. So not Coke Ground Zero. No. Not Coke Ground Zero, but definitely more of a Coke zone. If we want the good versions of Mountain Dew, like if we want a Mountain Dew Baja Blast, the chance of us going into a random restaurant or a random gas station and finding one of those, or even at a supermarket, is effectively nil. The only place to get Baja Blast around here is to go to Taco Bell. Yep. Usually not a Pepsi person, but the mango one is good. I'll look for it. I don't think I'll be able to find it. We're just not a Pepsi zone. Husbands ask what Cokes do you have, and they're like Diet Coke. Yeah, right. There's Coke Zero. There's what is the Diet Coke, and then there's caffeine-free Diet Coke. And does your state have a cryptid? Yes, it does. It's called the Honey Island Swamp Monster. Honey Island Swamp Monster, and it is a small-sized Bigfoot. Yep, it's a smaller Bigfoot. It's a medium foot. All pops are colas. Yeah. So if it's got carbonation, it kind of falls into that. Yeah, swamp foot, right? I have been to the Honey Island Swamp, but I have never seen the Honey Island Swamp Monster. Now, if we get up a little bit further north in my state, and you get closer to the Mississippi River, and you get closer to like Arkansas and Missouri, there is something in the region that's called the skunk ape, which is another version of a Bigfoot, but it's also small and it's also very, very stinky. And you're supposed to be able to identify that the skunk ape is there by the stink. So that's that one. I love cryptids. And honestly, Bigfoot and the larger sort of Sasquatch family are some of my favorites. When I was a kid, I got really, really into cryptid stuff. This sort of grew out of my love of mythology, because I really liked mythology a lot. And a lot of cryptid stuff kind of grows out of mythology, and that is just rife with references, you know. So Bigfoot is size 12. How do I feel about the Frogman of Ohio? I'm not really super familiar with the Frogman of Ohio. I've heard of it, and I've read a couple of what might be, I guess, eyewitness accounts or things like that. But I am not as familiar with the Frogman of Ohio. I'm more familiar with, well, no, in New York State. I was going to say Ogopogo, but that's up in New York State. I was thinking Lake Erie, but I don't know. Like Jersey Devil, yeah. Lived in Hockomock Swamp, which is like the Bermuda Triangle. Heck yeah. Yeah. All right. Eris is up and running, so let's go do a raid on Aristotle's channel. He raids us all the time, and I gave him a shout out earlier. He's a good guy, a good friend, and would I be interested in a pecan source? I don't know exactly what a pecan source is. You mean like a place to buy pecans? Or a book that talks about pecans? I'd be interested in either. Oh, there are so many around here in my area that like I could get as many pecans as I wanted. This is just something sick. All right, let's go raid Aristotle. He's a good guy. I'll see everybody again on Thursday. We're going to talk about ancient India and have a good time doing ancient India stuff. And it'll be good, and I'll see everybody then. But until then, show some love to Aristotle. Steve, thanks again for the raid. Thanks for Tad giving out 10 gift subs. Fiddlia, thanks for the resub. Nick Slottle, thanks for the resub. All of our new followers. I'm running out of time. Thanks, everybody. I had a great one. It made my day better. You all rock, and I'll see you on Thursday. Have a good one.